Okay, guys, I am back with another special fall treat. I'm going to show you how to make my easy, gooey caramel popcorn balls. I'm actually going to start with a confession, although I'm pretty sure that I've stated this previously on my blog, but I am not a huge fan of popcorn because it always gets stuck in my teeth and I find it very annoying. I would much rather have chips or a piece of candy, but my crew are popcorn lovers, and believe it or not, they have actually rubbed off on me. And although I don't reach for popcorn often, I don't mind making a little popcorn bar every now and then for my peeps on family movie night or weekly game night. And I've actually grown, dare I say, mildly fond of this buttery treat, as long as I can floss immediately after. Now, if you would rather use microwavable popcorn instead of making your popcorn on the stove, that's totally fine. You're going to need about 20 cups of popped popcorn. But to make it on the stove, I just used 4 tablespoons of avocado oil and 1 cup of yellow kernels. I put that in there and just let them pop, and when they start popping vigorously, then I vented the lid and let them finish. Once the popcorn has stopped popping, then I like to pour it out onto some parchment paper to remove all of the unpopped kernels. This is very important when making popcorn balls because you will break a tooth if you do not get them out of there. And now we're going to move on to our caramel. I just used some chewy caramels from the store. It was pretty annoying having to unwrap them all, but that's probably the most tedious part of the whole process. And I also used 1 stick of salted butter and then a package of marshmallows. I just put that over medium heat until it got completely melted, and then I added some vanilla extract and a cup of peanuts. These are not salted. In hindsight, I think I would have went with salted, but I didn't, so that's okay. After it's completely melted and incorporated, then I take the caramel sauce and I'm going to pour it directly over the popcorn. It's nice to have it spread out on the parchment paper for this purpose. And it's also nice if you have someone to help you with this because that pot of caramel is hot and I was trying to get it all out. It was difficult, so I had to scoop some of it out with my spoon. And then I did a final sprinkling of salt, and you'll see that in a minute. But I'm taking my hands and I'm trying to incorporate all of that caramel sauce on the popcorn. The caramel is still a little warm here, but I think my hands are just used to it. But I want to caution you to maybe wait a couple of minutes to let that caramel cool down a little bit more because you can definitely burn your hands. And if you're letting kids help with this, then you definitely need to wait a little bit. It gets pretty sticky and it's kind of a challenge to make sure that it's all covered, but I'm going to show you a tip, a trick in just a minute for how we make these popcorn balls without it sticking to our hands. And I've learned the hard way because I have used nonstick cooking spray and that really wasn't successful. And then I went to water, which is exactly what I use when I'm making my monster bites. And this is it. So I just get a cup of cold water and I dip my fingers in it, my hands, and just rub it all over my hands. I mean, my hands aren't soaking wet, but they're covered in a little bit of water. Then I grab my popcorn, how much ever I need, and I form my balls and I squeeze really tightly because I want to make sure that that popcorn and caramel are very stuck together. You can see me adding quite a bit of pressure, and that's very important because you can't just form these popcorn balls loosely, they'll fall apart. So in between each popcorn ball, I'm putting a little bit more water on my hand and it will not stick to you. It's amazing. This recipe is going to make about 14 popcorn balls, and after you form them all, then I just take some plastic wrap and I'm going to wrap them individually. This makes it easier to give them as gifts or to just save them for later. You can keep these popcorn balls individually wrapped at room temperature for up to a week. And if you do not like peanuts or you would like to try a different type of nut in your popcorn balls, I just say go for it, but you can also leave them out. But I also want you to feel free to take this simple recipe that I've given you and make your own varieties of popcorn balls. Your kids might like some chocolate chips or some M&Ms or even candy corn. Yes, I said candy corn. It actually gives the popcorn ball a very interesting chew. Just do whatever you like. As always, the full recipe can be found on my blog. The link is in the description below. You have to make it, guys. You have to.